Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. When they were approaching Jerusalem at Bethpage and Bethany, near the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village ahead of you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find tied there a colt that has never been ridden. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' just say this, 'The Lord needs it, and will send it back here immediately.'" They went away and found a colt tied near a door outside in the street. And as they were untying it, some of the bystanders said to them, "What are you doing, untying the colt?" They told them that what Jesus had said, and they allowed them to take it. Then they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their cloaks on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their cloaks on the road, and others spread leafy branches that they had cut in the fields. Then those who went ahead and those who followed were shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our ancestor David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." Then he entered Jerusalem and went into the temple. And when he had looked around at everything, as it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. Reference to Bethany is about 3 miles outside of Jerusalem. And if you will, the time that Jesus was in Jerusalem, he used Bethany as his home base. If you remember, Bethany is the home village of Martha and Mary and Lazarus. So Jesus was very familiar with that. But in terms of this reading, there's a lot of, and interestingly enough too, in this session, there's a lot of references to what we would call the Old Testament or to the Hebrew Scriptures. This idea of Jesus entering Jerusalem on a colt, it brings to mind the prophecy of Zechariah. And Zechariah says this, "Rejoice greatly, O daughter Zion, shout aloud, O daughter Jerusalem. Lo, your king comes to you triumphant and victorious, and victorious is he, humble and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." So, what Zechariah is doing, he's projecting the restoration of Jerusalem. Zechariah is towards the end of Old Testament times. So, Christians have adopted this as also pertaining to Jesus. Now, the idea of riding on a donkey, right? A donkey suggests humility and peacemaking. Now, you also have to remember, in terms of symbolism, the horse represented war. The donkey, humility. And so, Zechariah continues, which I think is very interesting. He says, this king, "He will cut off the chariot from Ephraim and the war horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall command peace to the nations. His dominion shall be from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth." So, what is the image that Zechariah is projecting of this king? Well, he'll banish the horse from Jerusalem, proclaim peace to the nations. All right. So we have a king who will basically destroy his enemies, cut off, and will be a king of peace, at least in the mind of he will be humble and be a king that would bring peace.